Good morning, I'm Leslie Ann Osborne. I'm the Director for Wellbeing and Engagement at Dartford and Gravesham NHS Trust down in Kent by the Dartford Crossing Bridge. I think it's very clear that unless you've got happy, healthy staff, patient care will not be at its best. So putting our staff wellbeing as an equal priority to patient care, I think, is really important. Some of the challenges we faced through COVID, multiple really. Ironically, demand through the front door was not one of them. That's what we're struggling with at the moment. But of course, as for a lot of organisations, particularly acutes, the A&E demand did slow down, which was actually a real blessing. I think what we faced was fear. We had staff that were fearful not for themselves, surprisingly, but fearful for their loved ones, fearful about the situations they found themselves in and what they might take home to their families. We had a number of staff who actually chose to leave their family home. We provided accommodation, and this included members of staff who were young mums with young children who were caring for parents. They chose to leave their family home and move into accommodation to keep their families safe. That's a massive sacrifice, and I don't think we can underestimate that. We then had the challenges of staff that were having to shield, many of whom who didn't want to shield. They wanted to be there helping their colleagues in the fray, but they obviously had to stay home to look after themselves. So we then had the challenge of the guilt then when they return, and also the disparity between teams. So you've got quite often some of a team that have been through it for the months consistently, and then people coming back from shielding or having been redeployed. Obviously, a lot of staff were redeployed into IT COVID wards. They then returned to their teams that weren't in such an intense environment. And actually, people understanding the experiences that staff has been through has been really, really challenging. It's fair to say that we do have staff suffering from PTSD. We know that emerges at a minimum of 6 months after an event, anything up to 2 to 5 years after. So we're now seeing staff who have signs of PTSD. I think what we've done amazingly well is support the mental health of our staff. So from the very beginning, as quickly as we could, we have not only had our mental health nurses and occupational health, and our occupational health team were amazing. We stood up our Time to Talk team. These are all mental health first aiders. They're trained in mental health first aid, and they're active listeners. So they're our kind of first line. So any members of staff can come and chat to our Time to Talk team about anything, actually. They all know if staff then need to be onward referred for more specialist care. We have on-site counsellors, so we have 2 on-site counsellors. Staff can refer directly to them without needing to go through occupational health or anybody else if they wish to, which keeps all of their concerns completely confidential. We also have on-site clinical psychologists who offer CBT and EMDR. So 5 days a week, we have on-site mental health support for our staff, and it is well used. That absolutely needs to continue. So way beyond COVID, this needs to continue. Staff don't just struggle with COVID. Staff have a lot of pressures inside work, outside work, and it's ensuring that we're able to support their holistic well-being. So we do a lot in the holistic sense. We follow the 6 ways to wellbeing framework. So the mental health support, in addition to that, we offer, there's mindfulness, there's meditation. We offer staff reflexology. So staff can actually, during work hours, come and take half hour out and have a sort of session of reflexology to help with stress and relaxation. We do a lot on the physical side. So we walk in clubs. We've a football team. We've now got a cricket team. So we do a lot to try and keep our staff active. We've had boot camps, we've had yoga, Tai Chi. So we do a lot in that space. We have health programs. So we teamed with a company called Reset Health. We've now on cohort 4, so we've nearly 400 staff that have been through this program. And in addition to losing weight, which is what a lot of the focus tends to be, this actually helps our staff reset their health. So it does reverse type 2 diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, all of those long-term conditions that over time can really have an impact on your longevity. So with a lot of staff now been through that, they're much healthier and much happier. We also focus on the spirit. So we've an amazing chaplaincy in the hospital, if for people that have want to follow their faith, and we celebrate all faiths, all diversity, all cultures in our organisation. So we have a very active EDI events calendar. We celebrated Pride, but we also encourage staff to feed their spirit by giving. Now, a lot of staff who work in the NHS are by nature quite altruistic. They don't do it for themselves, they don't do it for the money, they do it for the patients and for each other. So we have a very active charity. A lot of our staff raise money for our charity. And the charity is kind of split in half. We have half that is funding to make things better for our patients, and the charity that I lead is for our staff wellbeing fund. And that has really been what has allowed us to do all the things we've done this year. I think going forward, to ensure the sustainability of wellbeing and to make sure it isn't just being paid lip service, we need ring-fenced funding. We need proper budgets for wellbeing. When you've got staff that are, particularly through COVID, were in full PPE, they couldn't leave their wards. The amount of time it would have taken to come out of all of their PPE, get their own clothes on, go and grab a sandwich, come back, re-gown up, far too much time, and they weren't prepared to leave their patients for that time. So being able to take sustenance and hydration to our staff is really important. It's not just a nice to have. For some staff, it's essential. Otherwise, they don't eat and drink through the day. So we've continued that throughout. So we continue to our high pressure areas. We continue to take snacks and foods and drink to them. So that needs to continue. It is about keeping morale high. So we have to find ways to allow staff to take their time out that they need. So we need to find a way of ensuring staff have breaks, that they can go for a walk, that they can just take the time out to decompress. So many times I hear from staff, I don't have the time to take a break. So that for me, I think, is one of the remaining challenges, is how do we build that in so that becomes the norm, that everybody has their break times, everybody has time out at lunch, so they make sure they eat and hydrate, to make sure that people's resilience stays high. The mental health, as I've said, has got to continue. We also have a therapy dog for staff. So in fact, we've got two. With Guinness, a lovely little sort of cocker spaniel that staff can take for a walk, which is actually a really cathartic and therapeutic thing to do, is just to take a dog for a walk, spend a little bit of time, have a little run around the field. Guinness is quite an old dog, love him. So he comes in when he's fit and able to. But we've also got another dog we're bringing in that's an ex-police dog, a beautiful Alsatian, who will sit. We've got a wellbeing marquee. So we purchased a marquee which sits in some open space, and we use that for multiple things. But our lovely Alsatian will come along there on key days, and staff can just come down in the breaks and again just pet the dog. It's proven that stroking an animal relieves stress. So we're bringing that in. I have an ambition one day to actually bring a petting zoo in, so we can really expound that. So I think my main concerns going forward is the mental health of our staff, and I think the phrase burnout is used. Fundamentally, I think probably 80% of staff in the NHS are bone tired now. We haven't had the sort of holidays you'd normally have. Just having a week at home is not the same sort of relaxation as going away. Some staff haven't even been able to do that. We're all ramping up, and we're working sort of 7 days, so weekends are no longer sacrosanct for some staff, which is new. And staff are really, really tired. There was no kind of recovery phrase. We went straight out of COVID. I think there might have been a week maybe when we were said, oh, now you can recover. But then it was straight into, okay, now we've got to charge through the elective lists and try and get ourselves back up to speed. So there has been no real respite for any staff in the NHS. And that's something we really need to consider, because I know personally a lot of staff now are looking at early retirement, changing jobs. So recruitment and retention is really important, and that's something we focus on. So how do we measure how well we're doing? We do look at our turnover, we look at our retention, and actually we're bucking the trend. I believe in the South East region, we're actually one of the exemplars with regard to our vacancy rates and our retention. Until recently, you've always got flux. We had zero HCA vacancies. We'll have brought in something close, I think, to 120 international nurses by January. So our nursing vacancies are coming down significantly. Our recruitment to A&E for consultants has been fantastic. So vacancies are reduced there. And that was one of the things that I was told when I'd walk around the wards is the food and drink is fantastic. We really appreciate that. This time out is great. But what I need, Lesley-Ann, is I need the shifts filled. I need to know when I come in the morning that I'm not going to spend the first 2 hours of my day trying to get the shifts filled or running short staff. So making sure that all of our vacancies is filled is absolutely paramount. That also means, so one of the other measures that we look at is our agency spend. If all of our vacancies are filled, then our agency spend reduces. We've actually saved over £500,000 since December in agency spend through our recruitment programmes. So we measure that. We do a lot of sort of qualitative evaluation with regard to feedback forms, surveys. Obviously, the staff survey's live now. There's wellbeing questions in there. We'll pay close attention to those. We get evaluation forms from things like our mindfulness and our reflexology to ensure that what we're offering staff value, and sickness, in particular stress-related sickness. Overall sickness, there's only so much we can manage. We do have a very, very supportive occupational health programme and a sickness management programme. But the one that we really try to affect is the work-related stress. And that's on a declining trend. I think it's 0.7% at the moment. So we're well within our target range. So they're the key indices. We also look at model hospital. We work to the diagnostic framework, the National Diagnostic Framework, which I believe is being updated this quarter, and obviously the wellbeing principles, the 9 wellbeing guardian principles. We have a NED who is a wellbeing guardian. She's becoming very, very active now. So out and about on the tea trolleys, we run a lot of what we call we run a lot of talking tea trolleys. This is where members of staff, this can be our exec team, it can be our time to talk team, it can just be members of staff, go along with a tea trolley, as it sounds, with refreshments, biscuits, to the wards, to departments, just offering to make a drink for somebody and just have a chat. That goes down exceptionally well, and we get a lot of staff coming to us through that and asking for further support. So our wellbeing guardian will be out and about doing that over the coming weeks. So it's about, we try to get out to staff. We know it is difficult for some staff, as I said, to get away. So everything we do, all of our events that we run, if ever there's any sort of food on offer, we make sure that that's taken to the wards as well. We work very closely with our community. I think that's really important. The relationship, I think, changed through COVID, certainly for us with our community. We were overwhelmed with donations. And it opened our eyes, certainly for myself, in that we need to engage differently. We are an anchor organisation. We are a significant employer in the area. And we introduced our DGT doers. These are young people aged 18 to 24, 26 that we brought in en masse, and is now a recurrent programme, and we're probably going to link with the Prince's Trust for our future cohorts. But these young people work anywhere from ITU, the mortuary, procurement, finance, wellbeing. It gives them a real insight into the kind of careers that are on offer in the NHS. And I think we've had at least 6 or 7 now that have progressed into working with us substantively in different roles. So that's something we continue to do. And that connects us with the young people in our community. We're trying to work much closer with the faith organisations, in particular our local Gurdwara. All through COVID, they brought meals to us every single day, astonishing commitment. So we work closely with our cultural community and our ethnic community, and trying to find how we can ensure that the healthcare that we offer is equitable for everybody. So it has been a challenge. There's no denying that. It's been a challenge for everybody. It's been tiring. Our staff, I think, tell us continually how grateful they are for the support we've given them. It needs to continue. It needs to be funded, and we need to find a way to ensure that staff get the breaks and the recovery time they need.